Tesla stock is up almost 3% today at the time of recording this video. And honestly, I don't even feel bad for getting duped yesterday with the whole Elon increased his stake in Tesla news. Because look at this, 6 hours ago, tip ranks on the main page here of Robinhood says, lo and behold, Elon Musk boosts stake in Tesla to 20.5%. So yeah, it does appear as if this news, which is no news at all, is actually positively affecting Tesla. But there's actually other events today that are positively affecting Tesla as well. Number one, Nvidia is down. Nvidia and Tesla have a very close relationship that nobody actually knows about. Nvidia has been effectively sucking the life out of Tesla, and the two will go hand in hand. And I do think, with that being said, following Nvidia's earnings next Wednesday, Tesla's stock will get an even larger rally, and we'll discuss that more in this video. Beyond that, retail sales came in as a big disappointment today, suggesting the Fed may not need to wait as long as we previously thought to get some rate cuts. We will go over all of this, as well as your Tesla stock actual breaking news today. But let's actually start with this unofficial relationship that Tesla and Nvidia have. And the best way to put this is Tesla has lost $200 billion of market cap. Nvidia has gained about $600 billion of market cap over the past month or two. So what's happened? People have literally sold Tesla and bought Nvidia. Now, how do we know this? Well, we know this because Tesla is a huge market cap name. Nvidia has gained all of this market cap from where? Like, let's be honest. From where has Nvidia's market cap gain come from? The lower quadrants of our market. So I'm going to break this down in hopefully the simplest way possible. The highest end quadrant is like your big tech names, Nvidia, Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, these big guys that have done very well. Your middle quadrant of the markets is like mid-cap stocks, right? Like a PayPal, a Palantir, some of these other names that are not like super risky. They're not like bankrupt companies or zombie companies. They're usually highly profitable companies, but they're just not the star strutters that we have been buying, or markets have been buying over the past 18 months or so. Your lower quadrants of the markets are like a Fubo, like, other stocks that are maybe smaller cap in nature, maybe unprofitable, your Russell 2000, okay? What's happened is, well, we're not getting inflows to our markets. Money is actually leaving our markets. In fact, there's $6.3 trillion sitting in money market funds. This is not like 2021, where everything just did well. No, the indexes are at all-time highs because the money, even though it's not in our markets, is being sucked from the lower two quadrants and placed in the highest end quadrant. Now, when there has been all of this FOMO going on, a lot of that money has directly made its way into Nvidia. Now, I noticed this trend that started on February 6th, that when Nvidia is down, Tesla is up. When Nvidia is up, Tesla is down. And the easiest way to think about this is when Nvidia is losing on a day, losing, market cap value, which today Nvidia is down 1%, that money goes into other areas of the markets. Now, I'm picking on Nvidia because it's been such an aggressive rally, and this correlation with Tesla and Nvidia is very obvious, but there's also the same effect from Apple, down 1.36% today. Microsoft, down 1.63%. You have Microsoft down over 1%. You have Google down about 2.5%. So it's really your big tech names. They're giving back. Where is that money going? A lot of it is going into Tesla and then the lower two quadrants. So I've actually talked about this quite a few times now here on the channel. I do think when your big tech names sell off, like you were seeing today, Tesla's stock is going to rally. Now, that does not necessarily mean markets need to fall. I mean, take a look at the indexes today. The S&P 500 is actually up 0.13%. The Nasdaq is down 0.29%, and the Russell 2000 is up 1.22%. But every single one of your big tech names, your Magnificent 7 stocks, are red today, besides Meta. So this is just a broadening of our markets, and Tesla, be it that it's Tesla, stands to benefit the most from a sell-off in big tech. Now, more specifically, Nvidia reports earnings on Wednesday of next week. No matter what, in my personal opinion, Nvidia sells off. Now, I'm expecting a fantastic quarter. I'm expecting a guidance raise. I'm expecting the whole shebang that we have seen over the past 3 quarters now. What happens? Nvidia tends to sell off 10 to 20% over the next 4 to 8 weeks following earnings. That money, a lot of it, will make its way back into Tesla. Holmar's catalog made a pretty interesting post. He says, has Henry Ford completely lost it? The price of a Model T has plummeted since Ford adopted this disastrous affordability strategy. There is no need to discount cars when most cars are still being sold at $1,000 or above. A simple $100 million ad campaign could allow Ford to keep Model T prices higher, boosting margins. And Elon Musk actually responds and comments on this and says, exactly. So maybe this is a hint towards less price reductions in the future. Lucid has cut prices by up to $8,000 or by about 9.5%. For the new pricing, you have $69,900 for the Peer. For the Touring, $77,900. The Grand Touring at $109,000, and the Sapphire at $250,500. This was at the same time, or is, I should say, when Lucid is losing $400,000 per EV unit that it sold. So now it's probably worse. Tesla is making progress on the construction of its Hollywood supercharger that'll include a diner and drive-in theater. Take a look at that. It's actually being constructed a lot faster than a lot of us thought, especially that I thought. I mean, it's actually coming along pretty dang well. LG Energy Solutions signed an offtake agreement with WES CEF to expand its lithium supply chain for the North American market. And look at that, Business Insider made this article here at 10:35 this morning. It says Elon Musk's Tesla ownership has soared to 20.5% and is now worth more than $120 billion, a new filing shows. It even says down here a new SEC filing disclosed the stake, which is higher than the 13% stake reported in May of 2023. I mean, I really don't feel bad for getting that wrong, at least initially, because, well, mainstream media is still wrong. But hey, it's positively affecting Tesla stock today, so we'll take any win that we can get. Rivian will unveil their next-gen vehicle on March 7th at 10 a.m. PST. The vehicle is expected to be smaller and less expensive than their current offerings. GM has just announced a 350,000-mile expansion of the Super Cruise semi-autonomous driver assistance system's North American coverage. Coverage will go from 400,000 miles currently to 750,000 miles of roads in the US and Canada. LG Energy's CEO says they will start mass production of its 4680 battery cells as early as this August at its new Arizona factory. LG is also considering a plan to mass produce 4680 batteries at its Nanjing plant in China. Elon Musk has announced that SpaceX has moved its state of incorporation from Delaware to Texas. Elon says, if your company is still incorporated in Delaware, I recommend moving to another state as soon as possible. Tesla rolls out cold weather supercharging improvements in software update 2024 2.6. Tesla put out this video yesterday, about 3 minutes long, just going over the differences in the new Model 3 and the changes that they made. This individual, Justin, he says not enough trunk space. And Lars, which he works at Tesla, very important figure at Tesla, he says the new Model 3 has more trunk space than the old one, We heard you. Supra Boats has unveiled their first ever all-electric boat with 420 horsepower and level 2 fast charging. The concept boat will be at the Miami Boat Show February 14th through the 18th. Now, we did get some economic data today that is really helping out our markets as well. That was retail sales month over month. Now, the number we looked at yesterday, if you remember, was 0.6%. This was the last month's number in December. You can see a little R here. That means revised. So it was revised down to 0.4%. And your month-over-month retail sales for January came in at negative 0.8%. This is the first sign that maybe the economy is not as strong as we previously thought. So that says, hey, Fed, you don't have to wait as long to start cutting rates. You definitely don't need to wait till the second half of the year to start cutting rates. Maybe that's why Fed Goolsbee yesterday was really so dovish, saying, hey, one CPI report doesn't matter. We don't know what's going to happen. He was pretty dovish yesterday. Maybe he already knew what the retail sales were going to look like coming today. Now, we got a lot of secondary data as well. Export prices year over year, import prices year over year. Both of these numbers coming in negative. Import prices negative 1.3%. Export prices year over year negative 2.4%. Both of those some good numbers. Industrial production was revised down to 0. And month over month industrial production came in at negative 0.1%. Sheesh. Yeah, it's not looking good there as well. Capacity utilization. This is pretty interesting. This just came in at the lowest number you have seen in about 2.5 years. Last month, after the revision, you are at 78.7%. And now you're at 78.5%, the worst number in about 2.5 years. Manufacturing production month over month came in at negative 0.5%, and manufacturing production year over year came in at negative 0.9%. Business inventories came in at positive 0.4%. Really, the data across the board today just shows the economy is not as strong as a lot of people were thinking. Now, retail sales, export, import prices, this will affect the GDP estimate for Q1 and bring that down. Now, we're supposed to get an estimate, a new one from the Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker today. It says right here, the next GDP Now update is Thursday, February 15th. In fact, it is Thursday, February 15th, but there is no new estimate yet. That might be coming later on tonight. Maybe if you guys want to go look right now and let me know down below in the comment section. If there is a new estimate here, it is Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker. I imagine it's probably going to fall quite a bit into the 2% range. And that just shows, again, the economy probably not as strong as we previously thought. This data caused 10-year Treasury yields to fall about 2.5 basis points today. For March, the odds are really not moving around much. March seems certain to be a pause. It doesn't look like we're going to get a cut coming in March. A 12% chance of a cut, 88% chance of a pause. The next meeting in May, you're pricing in a pause with 62.5% odds and a rate cut at 34%. So it looks like your first rate cut is actually going to be June 12th. Of 2024. The odds of a cut stand at 52.4%, the odds of 2 rate cuts at 23.3%, and the odds of a continued pause at 22%. For the entirety of 2024, markets are still pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4 rate cuts, 3 rate cuts at 24.6%, 4 rate cuts at 33.7%, and 5 rate cuts at 23.1%. So it's pretty close. Anywhere between 3 and 5 rate cuts, you can make an argument for, where they're going to be, right? And it's going to vary. We could get closer to 3% if the economy does, continue to be strong and maybe today's data was a one-off. Or we could get 5 rate cuts if you do see, the economy getting worse and inflation continuing to fall. On StockTwits, the sentiment is neutral today at 47, which I find very interesting. That's higher than yesterday's number, which was bearish at 42. But maybe that just shows that Tesla could see a lot more upside from here if people aren't even bullish or even close to extremely bullish yet. Message volume is higher than yesterday. I would hope so. Yesterday you were at 48, which was categorized as neutral. Today you are at 57, which is categorized as high. And the participation ratio is at 55, which is also categorized as high. So a lot more people are talking about Tesla stock today. And as I said previously, it does look like the markets are broadening out today. Now you have about 55% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. That means about 3.5% of stocks broke above their 50-day moving average today, up about 7%. So you're only at about 55%, which is well off of your high on December 28th at about 86%, but you're getting further from your low, which was just set back here on February 13th, which was about 43% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. So today, it actually looks like the markets are broadening out quite a bit. We'll see if that continues tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be Friday. We are going to have some important economic data coming out. I'll share the details with you on that in the next video, so stay tuned to the channel for that. Global inventory numbers for the Model Y shooting down by about 600 or so, going from 7,400 vehicles in inventory down to about 6,800 vehicles in inventory. Model X and Model S inventories just shot up out of nowhere, so that's kind of strange. Can't really put a grasp on what's happening there, but Model 3 inventories continue to grind lower. Google Trends data indicates a continued uptick in search trend activity for the Cybertruck now at 26, and a very sharp uptick in Model Y search trend activity from 37 to 43. Model 3 continues to sit at about 37. So a little bit of an improvement across the board for Tesla, but especially in the Cybertruck and the Model Y. Tesla continues their advertising campaign, running about 2,000 different ads via Google. Today we will have some earnings in after hours, right at about the time you guys are watching this video. DraftKings, Coinbase, Roku, The Trade Desk, Applied Materials, DoorDash, and Jinko, Eagle, Toast, Open Door, and Hannon Armstrong tomorrow morning. Air Canada, Sinmark, Treehouse, a couple notable names, but nothing that's really going to move the markets. Option activity today in Tesla stock, you guessed it, very, very bullish. You have seen 689 orders from hedge funds and institutions, totaling $133.6 million with a positive order value of 81%. Volume today is about 59.5% to the call side and 40.5% to the put side. And short sellers are definitely taking it on the chin today, as Tesla stock is currently up almost 4%. Tesla's short interest is 3.28%, with about $17.12 billion worth of short positions. Today is probably going to be about $1 billion loss for the shorts based on my calculation. On the technicals, we talked about this yesterday, but it does appear as if you have seen an inverse head and shoulder pattern here on the very micro, kind of here over the past couple of weeks, ever since Tesla's last earnings. You got your shoulder right here, you got your inverse head right here, you got your other shoulder right here, and now you're breaking out to the upside. I've talked about this breakout in Tesla stock for a while. Hopefully you're not surprised. If you are a viewer of this channel, hopefully you profited from these videos where I've been talking about a rally in Tesla stock, because I mean, that's exactly what I expect to continue. I think Tesla stock most certainly is going to break out above $200 per share, going to break out above 210 and into the 220s coming over the next 2 to 4 weeks here, especially after Nvidia earnings. If Nvidia does actually sell off after earnings, which I'm firmly expecting it will, Tesla stock stands to benefit from that, and I expect quite an up move from here. Now, Tesla on the RSI is not even neutral. It's still oversold with an RSI of 45.72. Neutral is 50, and then overbought, if we start to continue to see this rally, will be 70 or higher. And just for context, I mean, if you look at Supermicro Computer, the RSI is at 96.5, which is literally, I've never heard of that. I've never seen an RSI at 96.5 that just stays there. SMCI will implode eventually, probably sooner rather than later. And that's a stock to be very wary of right now. It's a very dangerous stock when people are buying the stock right here, it could take years for you just to get your initial investment back once the thing does ultimately implode. But nonetheless, following Nvidia earnings, following implosions of these AI names, that will help Tesla stock go higher as more money will go into Tesla. And again, the RSI, there is a long way for Tesla to rally before you are even close to being 70 or higher, and then even at that point Tesla can continue higher than 70, especially if we get layoff news or any other positive news, in which is really only a matter of time at this moment. The MACD is also pretty dang bullish as of right now. So there is that. TLT up about 0.5% today. The dollar down 1/3 if this chart is correct. I'll make sure you're getting the best information possible. And yes, that is correct. The dollar overall has been in an uptrend. If we could see the dollar start to fall here, then you could expect a lot more of this broadening out of the markets. But nonetheless, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. We have another very important video coming out at 8:30 p.m. tonight, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. If you guys also want to go ahead and trade with us live in real time, we did make some earnings trades today. Check out that link down below in the description of this video. Follow the X account. It's Michael Tyler over there. And until next time, until later on today, you guys take care, and I will see you in the next one.